everybody. Today we are doing a Vintagify video and we are doing it on Severance. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Severance. It is so good. I am obsessed with it. My husband and I binged like all of season 1 and then we've been watching season 2 and oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's so freaking good. We just finished season 2. Don't worry, I won't give any spoilers or anything, but watching it I was like, I have to draw some Severance characters. But of course, I can't just draw them normal. I was like, let me do some sort of combo Vintagify vibe thing. And I was kind of trying to figure out exactly what style I wanted to do. And I asked on Instagram and a lot of people said that I should do like a Jetsons inspired one. This is going to be a Vintagify of Severance and the Jetsons. So taking the show Severance and doing it in the Jetsons style. First thing I did was I gathered a ton of reference images of both the Severance characters and Jetsons. The great thing about the Jetsons is it's been around for a really long time. So that means there's a lot of reference material, and there's also a ton of concept art and diagrams on how the characters were drawn and what shapes are used and everything. So that was very helpful, and I saved a lot of those while I was looking for reference. I also found a ton of images of backgrounds and everything, and it's in that kind of flat UPA style. So I sketched out all of the characters, tried to get their poses and their shape language correct, and then once I got their sketches done and I had the sketches done for the background, I moved on to line art. So I decided what I was going to do was work on the background first and kind of get my footing kind of in the style. I took their very recognizable desks and I made it a little more Jetsons retro, so I added a little more curves and a little more like strong shapes instead of everything being perfectly square. Just wanted some angles and some curves because the Jetsons had a lot of that in their designs. So I played with curves versus straights, which is kind of self-explanatory. It's like what is going to be straight and what is going to be curved. And I changed some things to make like the chair more sci-fi and gave it a little bit more of an atomic feel. And then for the colors, I ended up eyedropping a ton of colors from a bunch of different screenshots and building a little palette and then putting down all of my base colors just so I kind of knew what my overall color palette would be. Once I was somewhat happy, I went back into my sketch and then did all the line art. The line art is more specific with this because it doesn't have really any tapers or any variance to the line itself. It's all just one weight. So I made sure that everything I was doing was just all one weight. Some of these illustrations that I was referencing are just the concept art design, so they were a little looser, but when I looked at the final illustrations and like cells and screenshots, they all mostly were just one weight across the board. At this point, my camera is shaky because my cat kept bumping into my hand because she really wanted to be pet. And you can see her face here trying very desperately to get in my way and distract me because she wanted attention, which is fine. I did end up giving her the attention that she wanted. I knew the character designs were going to be relatively easy and simple, and there wasn't going to be a lot of coloring involved with them because it's just flat colors with no shading. So I did want to focus more of my attention on the background specifically. So I did realize that line color in the background, it wasn't always black, and a lot of the times it was just a few shades lighter or darker than the base color. So I wanted to make sure that all of my line art for the background was colored for the most part. I also noticed that there was a lot of grainy looking texture for shading on both like the walls and the floors and the ceilings, so I incorporated that into my backgrounds as well. But there wasn't a lot of strong shadows. If there were any shadows that were supposed to be a little more intense, they were definitely toned down, and then any drop shadows underneath desks or furniture, whatever, it was more like a shape than like a gradient. Now this is the part where I tried to make it look more like a retro TV. So I duplicated the line art, messed with the hue and the saturation. I kind of wanted it to be the cyan color. And then I just slightly, ever so slightly, made it kind of askew, like off a little bit, off register a little bit. And then once I found the positioning, I went in and did chromatic aberration and a little bit of Gaussian blur. Then I made a new layer. I dropped an all over color, went to noise, turned it to multi in the channel feature, and then kind of just messed around with the settings, gave it more noise, and then played around with some of the settings down there till I got a type of noise that I liked. I don't know exactly how else to explain it, but you know, like old TVs especially had this like noise filter over everything, and so I wanted to put that on top of all of my work. And once I found a setting that I liked, I went into the modes on the layer and just honestly scrolled through until I found something I kind of liked. This really just goes based off of feeling. I just picked something and messed around with opacity and just tried to find something that I felt gave old TV. And then the final little addition was the title. And I wanted that title to be in the Jetsons font. I couldn't find anything except for this font from So Incredible Stuff on Etsy. And I just took a screenshot of it and traced the letters because I didn't need the embroidery version. I just needed the shapes of the letters. And then treated it similarly to how the Jetsons treated their font. Added this little fun shape in the background, some stars, and voila. And that's about it. So let's go see the final image. That's about it for this one. What do you guys think? Have any of you guys watched Severance? No spoilers down below in case people are still watching it. But man, oh man, is this a good show. Do you think that I achieved the Jetsons Severance combo? And who's your favorite character? It's a little bit of a quickie video, but these more simplistic style ones, I end up finishing very quickly. In general, this whole thing took me about 7-ish hours. Anyway, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And yeah, that's all, folks. Bye!